I'm a Forester here with a follow-up video of my Ruger SR1911. I've owned this gun now for a couple of weeks. I did my first video of it the very first day that I brought it home from the gun store. Sounds like bringing a baby home from the hospital. That video has gotten a lot of views, and I found it curious that the states with the most views were Texas first, then Illinois, and then California. I understand Texans and guns, but I don't understand particularly Illinois and California. So if you're from those states, how about drop me a line and explain it to me. I've taken this gun to the range 2 Saturdays in a row, and I put a couple of different boxes of ammo through it. It got this weekend off. I call it a value 1911. You get all the features that you need at a very reasonable price. If you're curious about that price, check out my very first video of the gun. But let's take a closer look at it now. In overall appearance, it's very clean. There's no front slide serrations or no rail, neither of which I wanted. It's not ambidextrous, so the right-hand side is very clean. Now I'm right-handed, and I doubt that I'll ever sell this gun, so that suits me just fine. As far as looks go, and I admit I'm a tough grader, this Ruger gets an A-. I like the rosewood grips, they're keepers. The dark color, and especially that Ruger emblem or logo, are very attractive. But the low glare finish on the metal parts is not as attractive as a more polished finish to me. I'd like more of a contrast between these grips and the metal frame. I do like the blackened magazine release, slide stop, and safety. But here again, I think they'd have a more attractive appearance if there was more contrast between them and a polished frame. The back strap is metal, and it has fine checkering. Now this is a plastic part on many 1911s, so that's a positive for Ruger. On the front though, there isn't any checkering, and if there was one feature that I would want added to this gun, it would be checkering on the front. I think that adds both function and style to the gun. Now adding to the clean look of the gun is the lack of writing on the slide. All that's on the left-hand side is Ruger, made in USA. And on the right-hand side, the writing is very minimal. I thought I found a flaw in this gun, and I'll try to point it out. It's in that Ruger emblem, and it's in the beak of that bird. It looks very dark, but upon closer inspection, it's really just very fine laser engraving. So it's really not a flaw at all. Now, have you noticed any writing that's missing? Well, Ruger has moved it to the underside of the frame. And there it is, if I can get it in focus. Read instruction manual before using firearm. So the writing's still there. Ruger's just moved it to a place where it's not nearly as obvious. Good job, Ruger. Alright, let's look at safety and performance features next. Now this gun has been checked and it's not loaded. First of all, let's look at the beaver tail grip safety. It's well designed. My hands are larger than probably normal, and I don't think there's a chance that I would experience any hammer bite from this gun. Now, as you know, the grip safety is designed to where if you don't have it depressed, the gun will not fire. But if you do depress the grip safety, the gun fires, and fires reliably. Another safety feature is this thumb safety. It's easily within reach, but it doesn't protrude out too far. One thing that I like is that it has a very positive click on and click off. So there's no doubt whether you just put the safety on. A third safety feature is this visual inspection port. Now the gun isn't loaded, but if it did have a round in the chamber, you would see brass through this opening. This gun is the result of CNC machining, and I think one advantage that you have in performance is just how well it fits together, specifically how the slide fits on the rail. And with this gun in particular, it just operates very smoothly. Something else that Ruger's done that I think will add to performance is that they made the barrel and the bushing out of the same bar stock. Now they have the same metal characteristics, and I think over time that'll increase performance. Moving on to the trigger is made out of aluminum. It's skeletonized, and it has a very light pull and a crisp break. It is somewhat loose, but I don't think too loose. One thing I look for is, does it rattle when you shake the gun? And I don't think it does. Some 1911s that I've looked at do have a very loose trigger, and it rattles a good bit. The magazine release right here is well positioned and operates well. The magazine shoots out. Remember, Ruger does give you 2 magazines, and they're both made in America, and I think they're well made. One issue that I have seen is that when you put the magazine back in the gun, it meets resistance right there. Ruger doesn't say to do this, but if you depress the magazine release, it releases that friction and the magazine falls on in more easily. I just do that to minimize wear on the magazine. Okay, the slide stop works well. After the last round's fired, it locks into place. The only issue that I found there is that it is fairly hard. It takes a little bit of effort to get that magazine off, or to release the slide stop. But I think that's just a break-in issue. The Novak 3-dot sights are easy to pick up. I really like those. And the thing I like in particular is how low they are on the slide. I like the way they look in profile. And finally, Ruger put an oversized ejection port on this gun. Now I've only run 2 boxes of different ammo through it, but I haven't had an issue at all with either one of the types of ammo. Well, the proof is in the pudding, and here's how this gun performed for me at the range. This target was at 15 yards. I was shooting standing, and I never use any support. This is a 2.5-inch group. Now, based on what I've heard, I thought I'd be much more accurate with this 1911 than any of my other handguns, but it's somewhere in the middle as far as accuracy. I'm still getting used to it though. I've only taken it to the range twice, and it's the first .45 caliber handgun that I've shot. The recoil of this gun is different. It's stronger, but it seems more controllable. It's more like the gun just pushes back. Well, that's about it. I'm going to enjoy shooting this gun. For the time being, it's going to be a range gun for me. This is my first 1911, and I think I chose wisely. Thanks for watching, and take care.